Good evening from Boston, Massachusetts. My name is Frank Allen. Tonight, Ella Free, very special guest, and I discuss World Day Against Electronic Torture. You can call into the show live and ask a question. Get involved at 800-313-9443. Or you can listen at 605-313-0163. Now some more about our guest. Ella is a radio personality, broadcaster, human rights activist, and an advocate for victims of sexual assault, stalking and abuse, and child trafficking around the world. After working in the entertainment industry in LA and working as an executive in the advertising and publishing world in New York, Ella was compelled to devote all of her time to human rights work after experiencing her own human rights abuses. We hear this from so many women. These experiences forced her to become politically minded and active. She then started a podcast talking about being targeted, being a targeted individual, and aligning with other organizations and groups to bring awareness to these forms of abuses, including electronic assaults. She soon came across the noble NSA whistleblowers, Mr. Bill Binney and Mr. Kirk Wiebe, who exposed NSA surveillance abuses and held an interview discussing the new and emerging crimes of electronic harassment, COINTELPRO harassment, and stalking techniques. At that point in time, she felt compelled to become a radio show host and showcase modern-day heroes, which include whistleblowers, educators, and activists, as well as spearheading global Billboard campaigns to address victims of covert crimes. On her most recent show, aptly called A Good Place, where truth and integrity meet, you can be inspired by extraordinary courage and compelling real-life stories. Every Friday, beginning at 12 p.m. Pacific Time, by searching TFR on your iHeartRadio app or visiting iHeartRadio.com. You can also visit her website, www.freedom4targetedindividuals.org. Once again, freedom4targetedindividuals.org. Ella started this particular organization with Dr. Matthew Arnegard, and what they are doing to shed light on the crimes being committed against innocent citizens being targeted around the world. And today, she is here to discuss the upcoming World Day Against Electronic Torture. Okay, Ella, you in the green room somewhere?
I'm right here. Well, thank you. I was just waiting for you to finish. Thanks for having me, Frank. It's such a pleasure to be here. And yes, I'm here to talk about this very important day. And basically, activities are being organized around the world by possibly millions of victims of electronic torture. And it's to inform the public that July 31st is World Day Against Electronic Torture. And for the first time ever, Professor Nils Melzer, UN Special Rapporteur on Torture, will present to the 75th UN General Assembly session in October in his report on cyber torture. And these are forms of computerized remote electronic torture against illegally targeted individuals worldwide. This is a very exciting time for us right now. It's validation for target individuals out there who are listening and people who have heard about it and wasn't sure what to make of it all. And it's becoming clear with the hard work of so many people for the past 15, 20 years. As soon as the internet became readily available, people were able to gather and find one another online. And out of that, there has been a great movement towards exposing these crimes. And they're very complicated crimes, as you know, Frank. And sometimes they're difficult for people to believe because so much of it sounds like science fiction. But in case people didn't know, it's 2020 and technology has advanced exponentially just in 20 years. I can remember the turn of the century. And just from that point, having those little phones, the little flip phones, where we are now, it's quite remarkable to see where technology has taken us. And so what people have to understand is that we do live in a modern world with technology that seems to be in everything that we use and everything we do. And whether we like it or not, we're being surveilled either by apps, by your Gmail. Whenever you sign up for email, they're allowed to have access to all that information. And all your apps have access, unless you're very careful about when you apply the settings, to your contacts, all your social media, your conversations. They have the right to record the conversation. So as we know, we live in a surveillance state. And not to mention, you made a reference earlier to Bill Binney and Kirk Wiebe. That is something that they went public with this information, lost their jobs, had the government come after them, and to this day are still in battles, legal battles, trying to get the title back to their home. I don't know if it was Bill or Kirk. So the world is in a crazy place, and we do live in a big, I hate to use the word big brother, but it is that way. And the tech companies are kind of leading the way, and all this advanced technology is here. And I think it's very frightening to people to understand that we're in a day and age where anything is possible as far as technology, remote technology, and the types of weapons that are being designed that are very difficult to trace. It's the perfect crime. People can just simply pick up the COINTEL tactics, the harassment, the online harassment, just hire people and actors to stalk you and to harass you on a daily basis. And it does become psychologically abusive. It is to torment you, which is why I'm so happy the United Nations is picking up this topic, and they've actually posted on their website letters from organizations and individuals around the world that represent other target individuals and that are target individuals themselves. So these are free for you to search. And if for some chance you want the link and you can't find it because the UN website is quite expansive, and if you'd like the link to the target individual letters that have been posted, you can email me or Frank, and my email address is fsti.org@gmail.com. So any of those non-believers out there, I can send you the link, and information is now readily available to the public, and that's what it's all about. Because I've always felt that in order to create change, we have to publicly be able to address the issue and get their support. Public support is paramount in trying to expose these crimes, and hopefully they'll lead to legislation to protect individuals from these new and exponentially growing crimes.
Very good, Ella. You've touched on so many points. One I would like to bring up, I'm going to get away from the UN for a second, and I'm going to go back to your work. You and Matthew have done a fantastic job with billboards. These are full-size billboards. They have put, I don't know whether they're stick-ons, Ella, or what, on the side of trains, subway trains.
They have
yeah, they have put billboards everywhere, and I understand you have a new one going up in Germany?
It already was up. It was up for a 6-week duration, I believe, and we're looking for another one. We're thinking we're going to do the next one in San Francisco area, and we have a long list because of course, what's going on with the COVID crisis. Things have been postponed. We were going to have a global protest ourselves at the Lincoln Monument here in Washington, D.C., but because of the way things are and with the COVID in place and all the everything set in place to protect one another, we had to cancel that. But we are looking to have another protest next year in 2021, and for all the people that are going out there and protesting, and the people that will be participating in this monumental day that's coming up on July 31st. We just want you to practice safely, practice peaceful protesting, and wear your mask. And you can still get out there and make a difference. You just have to be a little more mindful.
Yeah, I would like to take this time too to thank Maria Gemez, the artist who has designed these beautiful, beautiful signs for World Day, and also Liliana DeLuca, who has spent an amazing amount of time as well. And everybody has worked. Excuse me?
She works tirelessly.
She does. I don't believe that I've ever gotten a call in normal hours. I think she's always working. But I'm working too, so I don't mind. I think we're the night shift and the day shift. But
it's
yes,
just wonderful that way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've worked very hard.
Yes. The event was created by Target Individuals Argentina, and they have a group, and you can actually find it if you go to Facebook and simply search Targeted Individual Argentina Group. And the admins are Cynthia Orsi and Marcela Ribon. Those two people are the ones that came up with the idea. And it isn't a short amount of time, which we've all had to come together, all the organizations, the individuals, and pull it all together very quickly. And I think this is going to be a successful day, despite the time we needed. But, we're a group of determined people, and we're determined to expose these crimes. We're determined to help one another. We're determined to have a safe future for future generations and for our children. And with that determination, us as a group can do anything. I believe in this community. I know how hard everybody works, and even people may not understand that these crimes can debilitate you. And some people can barely even function due to the prolonged electronic directed energy weapons and the various things that go along with that, including microwave auditory effects. All this is really, it plays a number on your system, your psychology, your entire life. It is basically a takedown. These are like takedown crimes. And so many people cannot participate, and many people are frightened. But I know there's a lot of you that have come around to the idea of going out and making a difference, because no one's going to make a difference. Well, let's just say we need more than just a handful of people who are highly determined. Because I know everyone's determined, but it is time for people to come out of the shadows, come out of hiding, and get out there and do something about it. Because it's up to you to inform the public with a careful narrative and help them, get them on board with us. And I can say, in the years that I've been doing this, I have never had so many relatives and friends supporting other targeted people reaching out to me. This is brand new. As well as you may know, Frank, I've had a gentleman reach out to me, and a psychologist had given him my information as a reference. He was listening to his patient, the gentleman who called me, and said, "You sound like a targeted individual. Here, I found this site online. You should reach out to her." So the fact that people understand that this is going on, that it's a real thing, not a mental affliction or someone's having a breakdown. It is actually, these are real crimes. They're just very insidious and they're very clever.
Yes, it's been almost 9 years for me, and it is devastating. I have, in 2017, I was hospitalized 14 times. One time in January of 2018, and it's not pretty. You get fright night to the point where you're ready to come apart. I don't have to explain it to you, Ella, but to the people out there, it's anxiety to the 10th power, because
on steroids.
Yeah, exactly. Anxiety on steroids is a perfect description. And I've had it, and it is no fun. There's nothing you can do about it. What I recommend and what I do is I get in the shower and I stay in there for an entire hour, and that's the only way to get away from it. And that does help. It's no cure, but it does help. Go ahead, Ellen.
As well as, trying to get your life back to some degree. I think that when this initially happens, you go into fight or flight response, which is an absolutely normal response to trauma and to torturous crimes. And so most people kind of go into hiding and isolation, and you don't have to do that anymore. There's many wonderful groups that have been there for many years, and even new groups, and they truly want to support you, and that's what's so important. You must find that support, and maybe just find things that make you happy. I mean, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same till all these crimes are stopped, but you still have to enjoy your life. You're here anyways, and yes, you're targeted, or targeted people, but you need to make sure that you can get some of your life back. And for me, going outside really makes a difference. Even if I just go in my backyard, get some sunshine, because I'm telling you, I never realized how much better I feel from when I've been going outside and working in the morning, just spending time outside, because we all need sunshine. We're highly evolved animals, so to speak, and we need the same things. We need food, we need shelter, and we need fresh air and sunshine. And those things can really help you. And grounding is something that people don't understand. In this Wi-Fi frequency-filled world we live in with 5G, we're bombarded by it. One of the best things you can do, and it sounds so simplistic and almost sounds hippie-ish, but you can take off your shoes, go outside, and walk on the earth. And that basically helps diffuse all that. It grounds your own body. And so many... So is this the commercial?
Yep, commercial coming up. Thank you, Ella.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. and knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcast. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Good evening from Boston, Massachusetts, and welcome back. My name is Frank Allen. Tonight we have a very special guest, Ella Free, and we are discussing World Day Against Electronic Torture. Among other things, some of the aspects in torturing, what they actually do. We don't know what their goals are. Terrible thing. Many people.
Basically, to dominate you, I would think it's to dominate people and to create suffering.
I agree 100%. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to tell everybody to call into the show, please, and get into a discussion if you like at 800-313-9443 or listen at 605-313-0163. Okay, Ella,
and
what
also,
would you like to touch on next?
I would like to talk to people about getting involved in this historic day. So again, this is going to be July 31st. It's a global event. There's no designated area, but I highly suggest people become involved with groups in your area, maybe search Target Individual, whatever state you're in, on Facebook. There's groups everywhere, and you might have on your website, and we do as well, organizations around the world listed so people can connect with them via email or whatever they provided as contact information. So we need to get together, and then also a very important thing that we need to do is we need to have flyers. So the flyers are available, and it includes the beautiful artwork by Maria Gomez, the Target Individual in Spain. And so we can send you, I don't know, is it on your website? Do you have a link to the PDF?
I believe I do.
Okay,
the
so you can go
flyer?
to
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so you can go to Targeted Massachusetts. You can email me at ffti.org@gmail.com to receive a PDF or a Word document. And so you basically just need to print it out. It's a front and back side, and if you're on a budget, you can just do the first page. So basically, you just print out some flyers, and you meet up in a certain area. And with things going on, people are paying attention to protesters, and just pass out information, and especially if it can be like in front of important buildings like the United Nations, like in Thailand, they have the United Nations. In England, I think they're going to be outside the BBC. So try to find an event where you'll get the full exposure or a large amount of people, and especially like going in front of the news stations. You can simply go on Google, find out the addresses, and go in front of them. We had a protest in Portland, Oregon, and it was a wonderful day, Target Individual Day. And we did it right outside a news station. And Dr. Matthew, who organized it along with Amy in Oregon, he was invited to come on Clyde Lewis's show. I'm sure most of your fellow the people you work with know who he is, but he's a really great radio host who spent a couple hours with Matthew and Dr. John Hall, and so these are very important events that happen. They're always larger than you could imagine. Not only do you get to go and you get to meet people and look them in their eyes and hug them, these people in your city and people that drive, because people drive from different parts of the states to get together, and you actually get to meet them, because most of us are talking and speaking as a group on a phone or via email. So there's nothing more powerful in connecting than meeting another person who's going through targeting. And you just never know what's going to come out of it. You really don't. Out of each event, something great has come out of it. I know in Sacramento for a TI Day, a wonderful lady named Shayla was invited to come on a whistleblower show, and she talked about being a targeted person. And there's been a very positive, when it comes to the events, there's a lot of positive press. Many of us experience, including myself, doing press interviews, and then the information is twisted and turned, or they're asserting their opinion on the topic, and it's very unbiased. So it's very biased slant. So it's very difficult sometimes to get the press we need, and skeptical minds sometimes aren't ready to be on board. But now it's getting hard. It's getting to the point where they can't deny this is going on anymore. And so I just want to encourage everybody to do that. And I do have a video with all the links below it. I have a channel called Ella F., and the top two videos, if you click on the channel, are both around these events. And this was such a great idea by the Target Individual Group in Argentina. And Liliana DeLuca's commitment and hard work has really organized it for all of us to work together and to work at exposing it and going public with these crimes. And we all know we have to be a little careful when we're talking about it. I always focus on the crimes and not my story, and that seems to be highly effective. But as you know, I'm a targeted individual, Frank, as you alluded to earlier. But I have to say, one of the upsides of becoming a targeted person is that I found a group of dedicated people like yourself, Frank, and we have a common purpose. And
Okay, Ella. It's the bottom of the hour. We have to break for station identification. We'll be back in a few minutes. Thanks.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The Republic Broadcasting Network late night premiere show, The Red Pill Hardcore, is hosted by activists that want to hear from you, the listeners. So that you can get involved in the activism, please call in at 800-313-9443 at 10 p.m. to enter the discussion. To book yourself as a guest, call our studio at 202-657-5715 or contact RBN staff. Remember, keep it real and take the red pill.
Extend your life with Extendovite, a 7-herb combination made from garlic, cayenne, bilberry, hawthorn, ginkgo biloba, valerian, and milk thistle. Each herb was chosen for their abilities to help improve irregular heartbeats, chest pain, lower cholesterol, as well as normalize blood pressure and clean and strengthen arteries, plus much, much more. Doctors have taken people off of some or all of their pills just because they believe their patients got better while taking Extendovite. Get the dependability of Extendovite. Just see how you feel in 6 months. A 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid is only $69.95 plus shipping and handling. Call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
We are coming to you live from the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you can handle the truth. Once again, good evening from Boston, Massachusetts, and welcome back. Ella and I are here talking about World Day Against Electronic Torture. And we have a caller, Ella. It is Laura from Denver. Go ahead, Laura.
I love Laura. I know exactly who that is.
So do I.
Hi, guys. Hi. I just wanted to
Laura.
say that you guys are so funny. I just wanted to say that we are doing something here in Denver. Both Ella and Frank have my information if anybody's interested in that. And it's important. It is important that you see a lot of things online about this, and you see a lot of people discussing this online, but it's really important that we get out there, boots on the ground, that we, physically meet each other and get out there and try to get this out to the public, this information.
Create change.
A lot of people are really receptive. A lot of people know about this. They don't know how to talk about it. They're scared to talk about it, or...
Yeah.
That's been the case.
It's a difficult thing. Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, that's been the case for a long time, and people are learning how to come out because that's what has happened. People are coming out in droves. And I suggest those of you who are scared, they know who you are already. They know where you live. So why don't you come out and join us and help us put them away?
And I'm not scary. And we're just
no, you're
handing
not.
out flyers.
Lovely.
Yeah, we're going to do masks, and we're going to hand out flyers. We also have, some different things that we're going to do. But anyway, I'm not scary, and I would love it if somebody showed up. So get with us.
Thank you.
Want to be involved.
Thank you so much, Laura.
Yeah. Hey, thank you guys both. I appreciate you. You're doing some great
stuff.
Laura.
I appreciate you. I'm appreciative of you.
I'll talk to you later, guys.
Talk to you soon.
One of the things is that, we've been blessed to meet people we never would have met before because of this targeting that's happened. I met people like Dr. Matthew, I think the world about. He is a very qualified person to speak on this, and he's so inspiring, and he's caused so many things to happen that would have not happened if it wasn't for him and his motivation. And then there's Kate Ryan and Bill Binney, who changed my life because I was in a place of pure depression, but happy to have found the community. I was so inspired by him. If you don't know who he is, you should research him because he's so noble. What these men did, that's why I gravitated toward whistleblowers. And a lot of targeted people are actually whistleblowers, and they're suffering retaliation for speaking out. And then, of course, there's Liliana DeLuca and the lovely Magnus Olsson from Sweden. And he has done so much for targeted individuals. He actually was the first person to discuss our topic, with Mr. Bill Binney and Kirk Wiebe, the two gentlemen that have been so instrumental in helping us with this and giving us validation. And these are two of the most well-respected people in the world, and they talk about it to this day. I know that Bill Binney recently had an interview with Hedges. Is his name Jeff Hedges? Do you know who his first name is? Jeff Rentz. Oh, Jeff Rentz, and I think it was Jeff Rentz, and he talked about it, and he himself has been targeted in various capacities, especially being thrown in jail for trying to speak out against these constitutional violations of mass surveillance. And, I just think that things are moving, and it's been a wonderful experience meeting all these lovely people. And, Frank, we're support people. We like to support targeted individuals in need. And we care deeply about these people. And you have, and I know you agree with me, just to hear and speak and get to know these people, it breaks your heart to know that so many lovely people are being harmed and tortured in various capacities. And this idea of torturing individuals and singling them out has got to stop. And now it's just so difficult to prove so many of these things, because even this digital surveillance, that's all frequency related. Everything's signals, everything's signal intelligence. Unfortunately, signals are invisible. And so this is a very sticky place that we're in as a world, as American citizens, as individuals and people.
Right. Signet's been around since, I think the 40s or the 50s. That's very old, but it is the center of intelligence and the center of surveillance. And we have come into a social scoring system. I don't know if you've heard of the company Sifter. It is one of several companies that if you see Sifter on your credit report or any kind of loan application, I saw it online. It was posted. And this company, Sifter, is a social scoring company. You can have AAA credit, and this company will do a report saying that you were here, you did this, when you protested back in college, so against the Vietnam War, so you're a terrorist. And on and on and on, we are starting to become or resemble communist China. And they have a social scoring system that is just unreal. But this is another thing we have to attack. But as Ella said, it's generalized into surveillance and Signet. Go ahead, Ella. I interrupted you, I think.
Nope, you're right about that. It's a very, very disconcerting times. And even if you have children, you're very concerned, because one of the things about all the Wi-Fi, and this is just getting back to the basics and kids going to school and working on computers and around Wi-Fi, it interrupts their brain, and their brain is developing unnaturally. And so all these children now have these ADHD symptoms, and part of that's being online and everything happening so fast. They get bored. They go do this. They go to another site. They go to another social media. They're just so it's creating depression, because they're constantly bombarded with new information, and then they detach and they're depressed. You got to get off your technology. And also, there's scientific evidence that it affects the way the brain functions. So a lot of mothers and a lot of parents in general have shared information about these matters. So just overall, all this signals have to be policed to some extent. The only problem is the people that are supposed to be policing these signals are the same people policing us and using the signals. And it's a very difficult thing, and we're going to have neuroethics laws set in place. Things are going to have to change, and it has to change quickly, because technology is changing so quickly. And that's why these events are so important. And even if you're not a targeted person, just because you care about the planet, and you're aware that things are getting scary on a technical level, and on a crime level. This is implemented, in my opinion, by private entities, subcontractors, who knows? Just anybody with money can do this. This technology is readily available, either on the dark web. You can make it yourself. As far as the electronic harassment part, all you have to do is have a little money to be able to implement this technology. And it's very disturbing, it's very upsetting, and we don't want this to continue. So you, the listeners who are not targeted, can participate in this today. And again, you can go visit Frank's website. You can email me. I'll get you the PDF, and just go out there and say, hey, you can say, this is a public service announcement. Just wanted to let you know. You can say something as simple as that. You don't have to try and explain it, because it's there on the paper, and let the professionals, let the people who know about it explain it. All you have to do is just say, this is a public service announcement, and this could affect you. That's all you have to say, and people are very interested. When you say it's going to affect them, they become instantly involved. So, Frank. Yeah. Well, this is going to affect you if you don't pay attention to it. Yep.
Okay, Ella, we have Kathy from Georgia. She would like to ask you a question. Go ahead, Kathy.
Yes. I have actually a couple of questions. How can we let people understand? The movie Minority Report? This is the start of it. How can we let people be aware titanium dioxide is part of that? How can we let people also understand this is part of laser and satellite technology, and so they don't get trapped into cyber torture?
Mm-hmm. Well, the best thing to do is use the information that's provided on the website that experts have put together, or very qualified people or targeted individuals who spent a lot of time researching this. You just have to let them know that if they don't address these current issues, that it's just going to get worse. And that's the best thing you can do, is use your voice, because nothing's ever changed if you haven't. You think about the women's movement and the women's suffrage. Women couldn't even vote, in the last century even. And just think about what the Black communities, what they've had to endure. It's very upsetting to me when I look back at in our own great country to see the things that have happened. And the government better get on board pretty soon, because they're going to look pretty bad when the world is addressing these crimes, and they haven't yet. So the government needs to get on board very soon, or it's going to make us look bad. Them as a government, I should say. The government, the people that we pay, the people that are here to represent us, need to take action. They need to care about us as individuals and their citizens, and they need to do something about it. That's what we pay them to do.
Okay,
right,
so if I were to write a senator, and if I were to say something about those issues I just mentioned, would that be positive or would that be negative?
It's not positive. I mean, it is positive as long as you're careful about it. When someone goes into their very, very long story and every experience they've ever went through, you might lose them as far as it doesn't really, you need to focus on the subject matter, not the story. So just talk about these crimes going on. You can pull from websites, but also keep it kind of brief. They need to be addressed. We need legislation as soon as possible because the UN is addressing these issues in October, and this is your responsibility to keep American citizens safe. Just be tactful with it, and that's all you have to do. And if say you want. One of the best ways to reach people in this day and age, because people get inundated with emails, Kathy, they do. And so one of the best things to do is to fax people. So let me find my search. I was able to obtain 400 fax numbers for every representative of the United States. I basically searched, and they all showed up on my fax. So I'm a big fan of faxing. Liliana likes faxing as well because that's going to stand out. And a lot of the government agencies still use faxes. They're here to stay in the government agencies and in the offices. So, yeah, you can go to just search something like fax numbers for United States representatives, my fax. The company was my fax. And on my fax, they say, you can sign up and you can fax everybody. But I noticed if you click on each person, it's going to give you their fax number. You don't have to use their service. You can, but I have a different service. And so you can pull all the fax numbers off there. You just click on the name and it will show you their phone number. So I think faxing is a great way to go. Or registered mail. Someone has to actually sign for it. But it is important that we inundate them, but with a careful narrative. And people are like, why don't you just tell them everything? And because that's not helpful to our community. We need for them to help all the people that are targeted, and we need to pass legislation to protect people from electronic torture, and stalking and harassment. We need all those in place. They don't need to know if someone came in and took your toothpaste or something. That's kind of irrelevant. What they need to know is they're psychologically torturing you or individuals. That's what they need to know, and that this is happening on a broad scale.
Yeah,
okay,
I will tell you.
On that.
I will tell you what
I agree on that. But should I mention that titanium dioxide is a brightener, and our government says that it must be in certain products. Well, the brightener is what attracts a laser. Should I mention anything like that to the senator? And then the laser attracts to a satellite, and that sends back some kind of a frequency to whoever's got that brightener in them.
Well, I don't think people not. But most people are not. A lot of target individuals are not technical people, and they don't understand frequencies and signals intelligence, and so we're left to guess what's going on a lot of times. But people who are scientists and engineers. What you're saying is speculation. They don't want to hear speculation. They need to know that there's crimes happening to you and happening to people, and go into the symptoms and let them figure it out. You can say, I'm concerned that this product, and then what you were just talking about might be part of how I'm being harmed by advanced technology. But there's no evidence of that. This is just ideas and theories. And so just be careful. What we want them to do is to pass legislation to protect us. And that's one of the most important things that they can do. We also need to have like a signals police. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but we need somebody that can read. We need technology that can read the various kinds of signals, all the harmful signals. That's really important. So we might need something like we need education too. You know how everybody would send you back to the police? And then you go, when you're trying to report these crimes, go to the FBI. Okay, call Homeland Security. Okay, they all tell you to go back to the police. You go to the police, they tell you to go back to the FBI. It's unbelievable. No one is taking responsibility. No one's assisting. I mean, that's not across the board. There are people, policemen who've helped people out. There's FBI agents who have helped people out the best they can. And it just needs, no one's taking responsibility. And it is their responsibility to protect us. And if I ever start a class action lawsuit, it's going to be against the people who are that aren't protecting us, because it's kind of hard to prove who's harming us. Some of you can. You have to prove it. You can't just think it. And so evidence is very difficult, as we know. But I wouldn't mind going after the people who are supposed to protect us from it. That would make more logical sense to me. But in the interim, we need to get out there and talk about crimes and the symptoms, and we can say who we believe is doing it. We can say what we think is happening. But I would run it by someone who's a specialist. There's some private investigators that know a lot about bugging and technology and signals. There's engineers, like true engineers that know about various technologies. Dr. Matthew has some incredible videos out there. Because he's a scientist, he can break it down. And he talks about the microwave energy weapons and all his because he became a targeted person and he has scientific expertise. He was able to break it down. So find the videos that are very credible to share with others, so we don't have to do too much talking. Like even when you fax over a letter to your representatives or senators, you can include links that you would like them to visit, or copy and paste. You could just say from Targeted Massachusetts, from Freedom for Targeted Individuals, or whatever site that resonates with you. And you can put it in there, and you can put the website. You can copy and paste information in there. But definitely keep it on the shorter side. Don't go too much. Don't go in, even though it's bothersome to us that someone comes into our home and moves things around and does horrible things, which many targets report. You don't want to include every little detail, because then it's lost in the message, and you might lose their interest by going into all these very, very small details. But you keep logging it. You take note of everything. You keep a journal. So when your day comes to go to court, you can have all that information, because they're going to want to know all the details. But as far as the legislators and the people who can create legislation for us, I suggest, you don't have to listen to me, to keep a clean narrative and with well-presented information. And even like all these faxes, I'm going to try to do, maybe with some help, try to do 400 representatives, send them faxes. I am reporting, I am sharing that Nils Melzner from the United Nations is going to be speaking on these new crimes against humanity. And I include the flyer that was created, this beautiful flyer, that was written by Liliana and Eva and some other contributors as well. So that's going to be in my fax to show that we're global citizens that are experiencing these crimes, and we're trying to bring attention to it.
That's fantastic, Ella. I'll let you know what I've come up with and I started doing. People call up, and I get 1 billion calls a day, as you probably do, I know, because every time I call, I can't get through because you're on the line. Anyway, I will say, well, I've got a PDF on this. I've got thousands of PDFs available on all different topics. I have them all categorized. I have some on the website, something that are very pertinent, but I have any subject that you want to get into on targeting, I have the PDF by a scientist, some of them that I have actually purchased. But you have, Kathy, you have Georgia Tech. You should be able to talk to somebody from Georgia Tech about these things that you have mentioned to us. And if you find that you need a document to study about a subject, call myself or Ella, and we'll make sure that you get it.
Absolutely, Kathy.
Well, as it turns out, I'm going to need something on if you are targeted individuals, what could be a lot of your symptoms or where could they be coming from? Yes.
Yeah, you know, who, what, when, where. Some of those are very difficult to answer, but you can basically, you know, find what really works for you. But just Bill Binney doesn't think it's satellites, but some people do. It's very tricky because, you know, how much accurate present scientific data is actually out there. It could be just, you know, weapon systems. You can look up directed energy weapons, and a lot of them are facial recognition. And, you know, apparently there's some people that believe that the nanotechnology that is in people's bodies is directing it at them somehow. And so there's various ideas. But the bottom line is the government needs to take responsibility and they need to stop it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
We have very little time left. We have probably 35 seconds left. But
okay, so
I'd like you to sum up real quick, Ella, because...
Okay, well, I want everybody to participate in this very important day, July 31st, 2020. Again, you can go to YouTube, Ella F., and look at the last couple of videos. All the information's in there. Don't forget to click on the information section of the video. You do have to get the flyers printed, and we wish everybody luck. I look forward to seeing everybody out in Oregon.
Okay.
Thank you, Frank, for having me on the call, and I just love to the community out there.
Okay, great. Say goodnight, Ella.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Thank you so much. Good night from Boston, Massachusetts, and good night from Ella. My name is Frank Allen. God bless.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Extendovite really works. Here are some reviews from Amazon.com. Amazon customer, 5 out of 5 stars. I'm quite happy about it. This product has relieved what appears to be an angina problem, pain in the chest after climbing stairs, and short on breath. I'm quite happy about it. Dr. Sam Surreal. Good product and ingredients. Kept my blood pressure normal after mild heart attack in 2015. Switched to plant-based diet also to reverse atherosclerosis. John Bispicos, 5 out of 5 stars. Built up my immune system. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Because you can handle the truth.